Okay, so let's take a look at how we can go about working more with the timeline. So here goes the timeline. All right, so there's a lot of different parts on the timeline that we want to get familiar with because in successfully manipulating our timeline will be success in creating animations. So pretty much we could say that the timeline is where all of these animations, the information about these animations takes place. On our timeline, we are specifying how we want the objects to move across the stage when they come in, when they go out. We can say that the timeline is the work that we do as the director of our movie. All right, so here we have the timeline, and we can see we have the layers here. We have create a new layer. We can even create folders. We can delete layers. And then we come a little bit closer, and we can see all these numbers in here are where our frames are. Our movies in Flash are divided into frames. Now, we can see that these frames are numbered at between intervals of 5. We also have the speed, the frame rate, and the frame rate is per a second, frame per second. And we see that this is 24. So every time that we insert a tween, it automatically goes 24. Now we can successfully just pull that out and make it larger if we choose to do so. Now, this is the playhead. So what that means is as we begin to play our animation, it moves over top of this. Now we can also see we come right over into here and we get information about how we want to view our timeline. So we can say we want this to be how we want to view our frames actually as a frame editor, and we'll just stick with normal right now. All right, so what I want to do in this film is, in the last one we looked at creating tweens and simple tweens. Let's look at how we can insert keyframes to change things around in another simple animation. So we come to our tools panel, and for sake of this project, that's right in front of me, I'll choose yet another oval. I'm going to start this oval down in this bottom right here. Now again, what I need to do in order to make this work, we'll try a different color, something we haven't quite worked with yet. Okay, in order to make this work, we need to convert it to a symbol. So we come to modify, convert to symbol, and we'll just keep it symbol 1. It's going to be the only one in this, and there we have it. Now again, we come in, insert, motion tween. And we can see that automatically this went to 24. And again, this is because the standard rate is 24 per second. I could come in here and change this and make it quicker or make it slower. That's just the standard one in Flash. I come, grab this tool. This is my beginning. I want to come to the end, to the 24. So I click there. I pull this out. And there I have it. Okay. And actually, I'm going to change where this is. Let's bring it over here. All right, so what we want to do with this is just a simple, I click play, this simple moving across. What I want to do is I'm going to span this out to, let's say, 60 seconds. Okay, now again, I can hit play. Now it's just taking longer, but what I want to do in that time is add some keyframes and such and have it move across a path. So why don't I say every maybe 5 I'm going to insert a keyframe. So I'll come into insert timeline and we can say keyframe, and now we can see what our keyframe looks like. We have this little diamond. I click onto this, I pull this up. There we have it. I'm going to come to 20. Once again, I'm going to say insert timeline, insert keyframe. I'm going to have this come down. Okay. Come right to here. Insert timeline, keyframe. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. All right, let's play this and see what's happening. Oops, should have started from the beginning. Okay. All right, so we can see what we can start to do, and we can insert all of these different objects, and we could play this around. Now, I could even come in to this right here and we could come on into our properties panel, and we could look at, doing different things to this. No, we don't want to do that. All right, so there's different things that we could do and play around and add different, things on to this as we do our animation. Okay, so let's actually add a couple more. Just taking a look at some of these different objects. Again, we click. Now, again, I could come in and click and even move some things around. We find that when it's set onto a keyframe, it's gonna work a little bit differently. So if I wanted to have more of a bounce, and actually we could go into the motion presets and look and see how they do theirs in order to do it. All right, let's insert another one. Insert timeline, keyframe. We'll pull this guy. All right, great. Now again, we could come on in here and make different things happen. Insert timeline keyframe. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I need to make sure that I'm selecting just this guy. Always we can come in. All right, now let's just say this is getting a little crazy. But again, we can see that we have all of these different things in here. And there we have it, a journey of an object across a stage. Now, let's say that we take this and we pulled this up. What we're seeing here is a blank keyframe and a blank frame. And what that is that there's just nothing there. So that will be something else that you will see. And we can see as we go to view this that that is where it is. Let's take a look at some of these other things we want to go over. Okay, I think that's about it. Just we wanted to look at in this simple animation was keyframes and also having blank keyframes. And we'll find that often we may want to have a blank keyframe. Real quick, creating a new layer is pretty easy. We just come in, click new layer. This layer is always automatically placed on top in Flash. So again, as I did in an earlier video, if we wanted to change the order, we could put this below. Now what's interesting is when we look at the layer that we just created, right now we can see that it's blank. It ends with the blank keyframe. And we can see that it runs the length of this. Now, we could introduce an object at a different place, a different time inside of this. So for instance, if I came right to here and then I come to my tools bar and, actually I need to make it a symbol first. Okay, so I'll come to modify, convert to symbol, symbol 2. Okay, let's just see if we come over. Now this is a static object, but if I wanted to introduce it, I would need to make sure that I do so, and this is actually there right now. If I wanted to introduce this at a later time, what I would do is I'd pull it off stage, okay, and then I could come right to here, and then I could come on in and actually come on in, insert, timeline, keyframe, and then I could come in, introduce this right at this time. Come back to the beginning. We see that it appears at the time that I placed it. So again, we can look at having objects off to the side, and then they're introduced at different times. Again, when something's over on the side of the stage, it's not there until a certain point in time. Thanks for listening. Okay, so I said that thanks for listening, but I just added something to this video, and I think it makes it much more interesting. So we can see that we can add, the point of this video was that we can add 2 animations together. Recap, the bottom one, we worked with adding keyframes. Down on layer 2, we see we started with some blank content, and then we inserted a keyframe at second 16. Okay, and what I did was I started with it off the stage, then I went insert, motion tween, and I pulled it over to here, and now we have a much more interesting, visually interesting animation. Again, if we would like to preview it, what we would want to do would be to test our movie, and we'll say in Flash Professional, dun, 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 and there we have it, our looping animation of 2 circles moving across a stage. Thanks for listening.